Welcome, everyone. Please come in, join me. This podcast is an open door for those seeking a little hope that'll spark a fire. Spread hope like fire. I'm your host, Tony the Beat. I bring this podcast to the world every Tuesday and Thursday of each and every week. You can get this podcast several ways. iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Overcast. You can even listen to it on YouTube. Some ways that you, the listeners, can support this podcast is rate, review, Facebook it out, Instagram it out, Snapchat it out, LiveJournal it out, text it to a friend, MySpace it, Twitter it. Wake up from a drunken slumber and drunk dial your ex-girlfriend at 3 a.m. and let her know you listen to the best podcast out there. Spread hope like fire. Also, I'd like to mention this is a listener-supported podcast, which is supported by you lovely listeners. Be sure to head over to patreon.com/spread hope like fire and become a patron of the show. All it costs is $1. So I've got some good news. My mom does not have leukemia. That was a huge relief, and I am very, very grateful, at a loss for words for just what the power of prayer to me has done and given me and given my mom, and the support that I have received from everyone from from Tuesday's podcast. Quite a few of you reached out to me, and that meant quite a bit to me to know that there are people out there listening. There are people that care. It made me really appreciate what I'm creating here. But yeah, checking the stats, it's really making me dumbfounded that my little podcast is chugging along and getting a lot of listening, a lot of listeners, a lot of steam behind it. And I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for what this podcast hopefully will become. I'm in talks with several people to come on and share their stories. Hopefully a lot of those people that I am in talks with do come on the show. I really encourage, if you're listening and you want to share your story, email me, TonyTheBeat85@gmail.com. That's TonyTheBeat85@gmail.com. Let me know that you want to come on the podcast. If you're not local, we can Skype it. We have several choices that we can link up with. So let me know. TonyTheBeat85@gmail.com. For this week, we are wrapping up Michelle's story and what she shared, and I'd like to really thank her for coming on and sharing this heartfelt, this really inspirational story of hers that she went through, and that she is surviving. She is thriving. She is a very strong woman, and I am proud to call her my friend. I am proud that in all the courageous steps she has taken forward, and not just stood there stagnant or fell backward or gave in, like she said last week on the podcast, where she contemplated suicide twice and she didn't give in. She's fighting. She's moving on with her life, and she is a strong woman, and I am proud that she came on, and I am privileged that she came on this podcast to share her story. And so I'd like to throw it over to the last part of her story. I hope everyone has enjoyed what she's shared and given to us. I believe her story is a gift, and here it is. Here's the third and final part of Michelle and sharing the Route 91 concert tragedy. Here you go.
I'm sorry, I'm anything but weak. And I was at that point where I was ready to say goodbye two times. Not one time, but 2 times. And I'm anything but weak. So you can't put that on somebody. That's just a label. And it's not true, and it's not fair. Even the strongest have a breaking point, and that's what happens. They just break and they snap, and they don't see any other way out, because they are alone, and they are battling this alone, and
They're hurting.
they're hurting. That pain is so undeniably strong. It's like the anxiety takes you over. You don't know what else you can do to make it stop, and you want so badly for it to stop that you feel like that's your only way.
And it's tough to have those thoughts, and then you see how people react to those thoughts or judge those thoughts.
Yeah, they treat you differently. They look at you like you are weak, or they want nothing to do with you. And, I've had to learn that it's not the quantity of friends, it's the quality of friends. And I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. And I'm okay with that now. Whereas before I wasn't. I wanted, everyone to love me, and I needed to have all these friends, and that's just the way it needed to be. And now I'm content. You don't like me. You don't want me to be around you. You don't know my story. You didn't live my life. You have not walked in my shoes. You've only seen what I've allowed you to see, and you formed your opinion, and that's okay. You're entitled to that. But unless you have lived in my shoes and seen what I've seen, been through what I've been through, you have no idea. So now I'm fine with that. You don't want to be in my life? That's fine. Because I'm content with me and where I am now. I mean, it's an uphill battle, and I'm fighting it every single day. I feel like I'm not, it's like looking up that Avila Ridge, and you're like, oh man, I got to climb all the way up there. And at least when you keep looking up, you see you're closer and closer to the top. I'm still not any closer to the top. That's what I feel like. But I'm still climbing, and I'm going to keep going.
That's all you can really do. I mean, I don't know how it feels to come to that.
You were never that depressed, were you?
No, I think I would get really depressed, but I would never get to the point where I was like, oh. I'd always know that the depression would ease up, and there would be that time where I would be okay. So I know there's going to always be peaks and valleys within it.
Was it because you were in therapy before? Because I've never been in therapy. I've only been in therapy ever since Route 91, and I really wish I would have gone to therapy before.
I don't know what I started therapy in 2010. But before that, I didn't acknowledge the depression. I knew what it was, but
you just dealt with it.
I just dealt with it, and then in I don't know, I just dealt with it. But I always knew that there was peaks and valleys, and I'd get through it. And I think I had my ways of getting through it, to where I would just watch movies. And that was my first passion, was filmmaking, and it didn't work out, but whatever. So that was my way of getting through it. I would write just stories, and I would pour my attention and emotions into stories or watching movies, and I mean, that's I think, in a lot too, my mom would always say there's always peaks and valleys within life. We have to get through it, and I don't remember ever getting to a point where I would want to take that next step of trying to alleviate the pain with suicide. I mean, but I understand when people take that step. I can understand and empathize with that pain being so bad that you want it gone.
Yeah. Just want it to stop.
You'll do anything to get it to stop, and even having to take your own life to get it to stop. I can empathize with that.
Yeah.
because I know the pain. I just don't know the pain to where I needed to take that step to get it to stop.
Right.
And so I think building a community, I think people that get to that step become so disconnected with life, and I don't know if I'm right about it, but it's just a disconnect to where they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I think, like in your case, you have Nicole, you have the twins, Vanessa, and you have this community that you guys are building, and I think that helps.
Yeah.
Because once you get to that point of darkness or that pain, you have someone to pull you out of it. Mm-hmm. You can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm feeling hurting like this," and they know what you're feeling.
Right.
And so
that's true, because until you actually have gone through it, you really don't know the pain of it. It's hard to explain. Like we just dealt with yesterday, insensitive remarks from a punk rock group, No FX. Well, it's pronounced No Fucks, but No FX. They said some heinous remark. It was supposed to be a joke, and it wasn't funny whatsoever. And, we take it personal. And the country people did not like it, especially the country people of Las Vegas, and they did everything they could, and they hashtagged every news reporter that they knew and every news outlet, and now they got their sponsors all pulled. They got taken off all the tours that they were supposed to be on with the other people, and and all for one terrible, horrible, regretful, I'm sure they say their regretful joke that they said. But you can't speak on something that you really don't know about. And I've had to learn that myself. I've had to swallow quite a few hard pills lately, and no one likes to do that. No one likes to look in the mirror and think, that you actually could be the problem or part of the problem. But, that's life, and you just have to do it. And I've had to do it, unfortunately, more often in my life than I'd like to admit to, but we're trying to build a good community. We're trying to be an outlet for those that are hurting, especially that went through what we went through. But I don't think it should stop there. I think we should do it for people who are just hurting. Maybe they're being bullied. Maybe they're being abused by their spouse, or, it shouldn't be just for one situation. Trauma is trauma. Yeah. That's how I feel. I think, but this is what helps fuel the mental illnesses and the mental disorders, is when people are bullied and when they can't take it anymore. And that's when these kids come to school, and that's when they shoot, whoever they target, and this and that. This is what we need to fix. Problems we need to fix first are trying to understand mental disorders and mental illness, and then trying to offer more outlets and platforms, like you said, and help out there. And compassion, more than anything, compassion would be great.
Yeah, you see with the common denominator that you always see with shootings, well, not every shooting, but the majority of them, like school shootings and stuff like that, is always the kids were bullied, or the kids had some sort of trauma within their life, or some sort of mental disorder. It's always, you can always link it back to mental health.
Right.
And I think that on one hand you have people that feel that pain of depression, anxiety, and they commit suicide. And then I always tell myself, on the other spectrum, you have people that feel this pain and they need to somehow alleviate it, and they go the opposite way.
Right.
And they lash out. And in many cases, the lashing out ends with them taking their life or they're being killed.
Right.
Because they're just hurting.
Right.
And I mean, I'm not justifying. I don't mean to I'm not trying to justify the acts that they've committed. I'm just trying to. I want to understand why we have.
We all want to know
so many
why.
shootings and so many. It's getting to the point, like when we said at the beginning of the podcast, it's a common thing now. You hear shootings almost every other day.
We never used to have them. When we went to school, well, I won't say we, because you're obviously way younger than me. When I went to school, they were just unheard of. We didn't have to worry about that. And nowadays we have to worry about sending your kids to school, sending even your kids in college. They're shooting at colleges. There's shootings everywhere. But ever since this experience that I've gone through, I've just learned to cope with the fact that one day the inevitable is going to happen. And until that day, I don't want to know about it or when it's coming. But I am going to live my life every day like it's my last. I'm going to go and I'm going to enjoy it. You said, oh, you guys are going to a lot of concerts these days. Yeah, we are. Because we're not going to let fear take over. And we're not going to let that SOB win. We're gonna just keep going on. And initially we thought we would do 58 concerts in honor of the 58 that we lost, but I don't have money like that. So I've been doing little concerts here and there. I have been adding them up, but in fact, I lost count how many I've been to since then, but I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep trying. We did go to our very first outdoor one at the Greek Theater not too long ago. I believe it was in May. No, this is May. This is June. See, trauma brain takes over. It wasn't too long ago. It was a few months back. And 4 of us girls went. And let me tell you, it was hard. It was very hard. As brave as we all were trying to act that we were, I'm sure we were all pretty scared shitless in the get-go, but we made it through. And we made it through one, then we made it through another one, and then we made it through another one. And so we've been to 3 outdoor concerts so far, and we're still here, and we're going to still keep doing more. And we're just going to... Our new hashtag is living our best lives. I think the twins came up with that. I'm not quite sure. I don't want to give credit where credit's not due. I don't want them yelling at me after they listen to this podcast. Oh, I said that. No, she said that. I don't know who said it, but whoever did was brilliant. And we're all going to that's what our motto is now. We're all going to live our best life. And that's what we're going to try and do. Fortunately for me, most of my fear has now turned to anger, which is probably not fortunate for whoever crosses me out there, who I feel is endangering myself or my loved ones, because that's not going to be a really good meeting when that happens. But I'm no longer afraid as I am angry. I have to wait probably a certain amount of time before I apply for my concealed weapon license, but I will apply for that, and I will be the person that you want to have in front of you or next to you at one of these next tragic things, or at the grocery store if it's being robbed, because I will do anything that I possibly can to protect any innocent person. And this is coming from someone who cries when they just run over a squirrel. I mean, I don't ever want to be responsible for ending the life of anything or anyone ever. But if it came down to the fact where I was in this situation again and it was me or that SOB, if I'm going down, he's going down with me. So believe that. I'll be the one that, like the gentleman at the Waffle House, that bum rushes them or takes the gun away. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to protect anybody. It doesn't even matter if I know them or not. Innocent people. I'm to the point where I'm just over it. I'm sick and tired of hearing about these innocent babies getting hurt or these innocent people dying at the hands of merciless people for no reason. And I don't know. I ordered a cape, but it's not here yet. But when I have that cape on, I'm going to be going around and looking for them. And yeah, because like I said before, I have had a full life, fortunately. I am only 48. Well, X that one out too.
We'll omit
But
that in the editing.
yeah, but I have a whole lot more life to live, especially with my new bonded country girls that I love so much. Because did give Vanessa's dad my word that I would protect her like she was my own. And I will. I mean, I will do that. And they're still so young. They still have so much to do. And I want them to experience life and live it to the fullest and have so much fun and have babies of their own and know the joy that I have when I see my son or when I get to talk to him on the phone. And I want all that for them. But if it meant I had to leave tomorrow, my son is old enough now. He's 29. He's been taking care of himself since he was 18 because his mom was pretty cool and taught him how to be street smart. So he probably won't agree with that. But anyway, he got his daddy's book smart and he got his mama's street smart. And I think that's just is equally important. And he's old enough where he can take care of himself, and his daddy will still be around for that too. And if it meant I needed to check out tomorrow, well, my bags are packed. I would do that for them. I would do that for my son to make this a better place for our kids to grow up in, to have them not be fearful to go to the movies like I am still. I'm still scared to go to the movies like you said you are.
I don't like going to the movies.
I don't like going to the movies. I don't like it's first of all it's dark in there. Michelle still doesn't like the dark. I don't like the not having control of my surroundings and my environment. I need that. I'm a very controlling person. And but a lot of my fear is now anger. So yeah, it's something else that I'm dealing with in therapy.
It's part of healing. It's
part of recovery.
It's the stages of recovery.
Yeah.
I mean, you go through all these different stages of recovery, and it's a roller coaster ride that you can put on.
I think though, if they had more outlets, like you said, maybe like a get together once a month, where you can go and you can hear other people's stories like this, and ask questions or vent, or we used to do that. Us girls used to do it once a month, but that was called Bonko. We used to call it code word Bonko. But we would go and, vent about our spouses or boyfriends or our day or whatever, and have a little alcohol and yes, gamble a little. That's okay. You have to have some vices, and I think that it needs to be more outlets. It needs to be more
connections. Yes,
and like, and no offense to anybody, to bring this up, the whole gender fluid and all this, gender identity. It's more and more acceptable these days, which is great because these people were living in sadness and fear and depression and anxiety as well. But I think that this needs to be more socially acceptable. Like, we need to have more support groups. It needs to be okay that you aren't feeling 100%. You're okay if you're sad. It's okay if you need to go and seek help for this. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's life. It's like having a freckle. It's like having a mole. It's something that is just there. It's in you. It's instilled. You might as well embrace it and take care of it. Don't you agree?
Yeah, that's what. That's why you're here. That's why we're all here, is to support. I think the more support that you put out there, the more positivity you put out in the world, the better you make it. And that's why I say, like, I love that you guys started. I mean, out of tragedy, there's still, I think, the darkness has not taken over the light within the world. There's still that good. I think there's more good than there is evil. You had one shooter in Vegas or whatever, but you had so many thousands of people that were
Are now
affected, and
connected.
now they're connected. You guys are all connected.
100%, yeah.
And so I think staying positive and making sure that the connections are made,
Right.
is what our community, I guess I'm gonna label us now, our mental health community. I think that's what we need, is more connections, more. I mean, that's why you have NA. That's why you have Al-Anon, AA. I'm just naming.
What can we name ours?
I don't. Well, I named it Spread Hope Like Fire.
Oh, well, there you go.
I want to spread hope like fire. And as we wrap up, what is the name of your guys'? Is it a closed group or is it an open group?
No, I think it's well, Lauren is the I believe Lauren is our admin. She's our administrator. So I will look it up for you right now. And we're open to everybody, quite honestly. If you're out Route 91, we're right there with you, and we will help you through it as best as we can. I mean, we had t-shirts made, and it says, we're all messed up. We're all okay, something like that. We're all messed up, but a little all right. I don't know. It's a Kenny Chesney song. I have trauma brain right now because I'm trying to focus on what you asked me to do and talk at the same time. Obviously, multitasking is not one of my fortes.
That's okay. I just wanted to put it out there because each guest I bring on, I want to make sure that they have a place that they mentioned that they connect with, so that other people out there listening could find these places to connect. And eventually I'm going to start probably a Facebook group or something. I'm not really... I think
you should. I think that's really good. I think that's a great idea. Since social media is so big still right now, I think that would be good. I mean, first of all, your podcast would be amazing. That in itself, with you having different guests on and different, aspects and opinions, and I think that'll be great. But I think you need to get word of your podcast out there more, and maybe by social media, that might be your way of doing it.
Yeah. I just want a place where we can all go to when we need that hand to pull us out of that dark spot.
Yeah, and it's called Northern 805 Route 91 Survivors.
So it's on Facebook. If you not Google, well, you can Google it too, I guess. But if you go on Facebook, it's Northern 805 RT 91 Survivors. So go onto Facebook and look them up. And if you were part of that,
and you live in this area, because we're all pretty much in this area. We have huge groups that we belong to, but they're all down south, or it's just 3-hour drive for us to get there to do meet and greets. And we just needed to have something here, even for this small community of us. So Lauren is the one that started this for us, and we don't have very many members, but we have enough. And we would love to have you if you're part of the Route 91 family and you're lost and you need that extra help from us. We would love to have you.
Well, I want to thank you for being on, and
thank you for letting me take over the whole podcast. My God, I told you I'm controlling. You should have just said.
You did most of my work.
I know, it's terrible. Sorry.
Once again, I'd like to thank Michelle, and also thank all the listeners and all the support that I'm receiving. If you want to come on and share your story, please email me, TonyTheBeat85@gmail.com. Twitter me, TonyTheBeat85. It's at TonyTheBeat85 on Twitter. Also, I encourage everyone to head over to patreon.com/Spread Hope Like Fire. Become a patron. All it takes is $1. It's a virtual tip jar. It's helping me support this show, moving forward with this show, getting everything in order to continue building this community, having more guests on the show, getting the word out. Also, you can just rate and review the show. Let someone know you listen to it. Spread the word. Get it out there. Let everyone know that you listen to Spread Hope Like Fire. Let's get some more listeners. Let's help some more people. For Tony the Beat, I'm Tony the Beat, and I will see you next week.